This video lecture was made by the Center for Future Dentistry under the SNUSD Knowledge Share Initiative with the support of the Korean Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy. A ligament is the fibrous connective tissue that connects bones to other bones. It is also known as articular or true ligament. Other ligaments in the body include the peritoneal ligament, a fold of peritoneum or other membranes, or fetal ligament remnant, the remnants of the fetal tubular structure, and finally, periodontal ligament, which is familiar to us, a group of fibers that attach the cementum of teeth to the surrounding alveolar bone. Ligaments are similar to tendons and fascia as they are all made of the connective tissue. The difference among them are in the connections that they make. Ligaments connect one bone to another bone, tendons connect muscle to bones, and fascia connects muscles to other muscles. These are all found in the musculoskeletal system of the human body. Ligaments cannot usually be regenerated naturally. However, there are periodontal ligament stem cells located near the periodontal ligament, which are involved in the adult regeneration of the periodontal ligament. The study of ligament is known as desmology. Ligaments can be found connecting most of the bones in the body. The function of a ligament is to provide a passive limit to amount of movement between the bones. The human body is known to have approximately 900 ligaments, and some of them have no names. In this video clip, we are talking about the important ligaments only, which are mentioned in MK Anatomy, otherwise are listed for understanding the MK Anatomy. Let's start with ligaments of shoulder region first. Acromioclavicular ligament. It is attached from the acromion to the lateral clavicle. Coracoclavicular ligament. This ligament consists of two ligaments. That is, one is trapezoid ligament, which is located in lateral and front, and the other is the conoid ligament, which is located in medial and behind. The trapezoid ligament is attached from the coracoid process of the scapula to the trapezoid line, as known as oblique line of the clavicle. The conoid ligament is attached from the coracoid process of the scapula to the conoid tubercle of the clavicle. Coracoacromial ligament. It is attached from the medial border of the acromion to the lateral border of the coracoid process. Transverse scapular ligament. This ligament connects two borders of the suprascapular notch on the upper edge of the scapula to make a foramen. Coracohumeral ligament. It is attached from the lateral surface of the base of the coracoid process to the margin of the greater and lesser tubercle of the humerus. Transverse humeral ligament. It is attached to the lesser and greater tubercle of the humerus. Superior glenohumeral ligament. It is attached from the superior aspect of the glenoid and the coracoid process to the superior part of the tuberosity of the humerus at the medial edge of the intertubercular fossa. Middle glenohumeral ligament. It is attached from the anterosuperior glenoid to the articular surface of the subscapularis tendon. Inferior glenohumeral ligament. It is attached from the inferior two-thirds of the glenoid labrum and neck to the inferior aspect of the anatomical humeral neck. Let's move on to elbow region. Radial collateral ligament. It is attached from the lateral upper condyle of the humerus to the lateral part of the annular ligament, the radius, and the ulna. Ulnar collateral ligament. It consists of the anterior and posterior portion united by the thinner intermediate portion. The anterior portion is attached from the medial upper condyle of the humerus to the medial margin of the coronoid process of the ulna. The posterior portion is attached from the lower and back part of the medial condyle to the medial margin of the olecranon. Annular ligament of radius. It is attached to the anterior and posterior margin of the radial notch of the ulna. Quadrate ligament. It is attached from the inferior border of the radial notch on the ulna to the neck of the radius. Let's continue with hand region. Flexor retinaculum. It can be called as transverse carpal ligament. The proximal part is attached to the deep fascia of the forearm. Distal part is attached to the palmar aponeurosis. Radial part is attached to the scaphoid tubercle and ridge of the trapezium. And finally, the ulnar part is attached to the pisiform and hook of the hamate. Extensor retinaculum. The proximal part is attached to the lateral surface of the distal radius. The distal part is attached to the pisiform and the triquetral bones. Palmar carpal ligament. It lies superficial and proximal to the flexor retinaculum. It is continuous with the extensor retinaculum of the hand. Pisohamate ligament. It is attached to the pisiform and hook of the hamate. Pisometacarpal ligament. It is attached to the pisiform and the base of the fifth metacarpal bone. Palmar-carpometacarpal ligaments. It is attached from the carpal bones to the second through fifth metacarpal bones. Palmar metacarpal ligaments. It passes transversely from one bone to another on the dorsal and volar surface of the bases of the second, third, fourth, and fifth metacarpal bones. Dorsal radiocarpal ligament. Above, it is attached to the posterior border of the lower end of the radius. Below, it is attached to the dorsal surface of the scaphoid, lunate, and triquetrum. Dorsal intercarpal ligament. It is attached from the dorsal tubercle of the triquetrum to the dorsal groove of the scaphoid, lunate, and trapezium. Dorsal radio-ulnar ligament. It is attached from the posterior margin of the ulnar notch at the distal radius to the posterior portion of the head of the ulna. Dorsal carpometacarpal ligaments. They connect the carpal and metacarpal bones on their dorsal surfaces. Dorsal metacarpal ligaments. They pass transversely from one bone to another on the dorsal and volar surface of the base of the second, third, fourth, and fifth metacarpal bones. Radial collateral ligament. It attaches from the radial styloid process to the radial surface of the scaphoid bone. Deep transverse metacarpal ligament. It runs across the palmar surface of the heads of the second, third, fourth, and fifth metacarpal bones, connecting them together. Palmar ligaments. They are loosely united to the metacarpal bones, firmly attached to the base of the first phalanges. Short radiolunate ligament. It attaches from the margin of the lunate fossa of the distal radius to the palmar margin of the lunate bone. Long radiolunate ligament. It attaches from the volar margin of the scaphoid fossa of the distal radius to the radial surface of the lunate bone. Palmar radioulnar ligament. It attaches from the anterior margin of the ulnar notch of the radius to the front of the head of the ulna. Ulno-lunate ligament. It attaches from the ulnar head of the palmar surface of the lunate bone, blending with the distal fibers of the short radiolunate ligament. Ulno-capitate ligament. It attaches from the fovea of the ulnar head to the body of capitate. Ulno-triquetral ligament. It attaches from the fovea of the ulnar head to the palmar proximal and ulnar cortex of the triquetrum. Luno-triquetral ligament. It attaches from the volar aspect of the distal lunate to the medial margin of the hamate. Scaphotrapezio-trapezoid ligament. It attaches from the distal and volar aspect of the scaphoid tuberosity to the proximal edge of the trapezoid. Radioscaphocapitate ligament. From the styloid process of the radius to the distal aspect of scaphoid bone. Scapholunate ligament. It attaches to the scaphoid and lunate bones. Collateral ligaments. They attach from depressions on each side of metacarpal heads to the tubercles at the base of the proximal phalanx.